Well, hello there. We're going to have a lot of talking in this video because, and we'll do some commands, but we first need to talk a little bit about passwords. I'm of the opinion that passwords are broken. It's difficult for most people to manage them. Most people don't manage them well, and people are really good at giving their passwords to hackers. And then hackers use their passwords and steal their stuff. So, passwords are broken. That's one of the reasons why you're constantly seeing multi-factor authentication. So, where you have a password and something else. Sometimes you just have something else. That might be better than a password. For our systems, we're using keys. Keys are usually better than a password. You still have to manage them, but they're better than a password. Unfortunately, we still have to use passwords regularly. So I'm going to link to this CISA.gov site. It talks about using strong passwords and how to protect accounts. Anyway, the main thing is make it long. Most of my passwords are over 32 characters long. They're random generated strings. So very much like this, okay? These are good passwords. I like them longer. There is an option so that you can remember them, and I need a few like this, unfortunately. Make them unique, don't reuse them. I like to use a password manager. So I don't know which one they recommend. I pay for my password manager. I use Dashlane. I will put my link down below. If you use that link, fair warning, I get, I think, a week or a month free if someone signs up with it. So I do benefit if you use that link down below. You don't have to use my link. You can just go to Dashlane. You can use Dashlane for free. I like the features that I pay for, so I pay for it. Some of the features I pay that they give you, I don't care for that much. I don't use their VPN much at all, on a rare occasion. But I like that I can use the same passwords on it syncs with my phone, my computer, my tablet. I like that feature. So, once again, Dashlane I'll have down below. Now, we're going to create a user. Before I do that, though, I want to talk to you a little bit about, so I still need this DNS. I want to talk to you a little bit about my system. So I'm still looking here. I'm recording these videos pretty quickly, so that one I terminated in a few prior videos hasn't yet hit there, but it will eventually. AWS Academy. This is slowly ticking down. Okay, when I start it, it starts with like 4 hours. I'm getting into that time. Okay, I'm going to do something I don't do often, but I want to see what will happen. Okay, so first let's log in. And this should be the same because I haven't rebooted it. Sweet. So I'm in. Sometimes it'll ask me, do you really want to log into this? Because the IP's changed because it's been down too long. It's fine. Unfortunately, that is a security feature that we're ignoring. So talking about being safe and secure. So I'm into this system. Just for kicks, let's say I'm running out of time and I'm working on something in the Learner Lab. I can click on Start again, and it's going to reset this time. Now, in the past, though, it also rebooted, so I want to see if I get kicked out. Not always. So yeah, I just reset it to 4 hours. So if I come back here, I'm still in, so it doesn't reboot. Happy day. I've had that act differently, so I just tested it to double check. I like to double check those things every semester because the Learner Lab's always changing. Now, if you're not using the Learner Lab, it's just your own, you don't have to worry about that timer, okay? So, I'm gonna create a user. So, I'm gonna user add, and I'm gonna just call this student, and I'm gonna call it, I would put something like your name here. So my name's Jeff. So user add student Jeff. And I can't do that because I'm not root. So how do we fix that? In fact, it tells us this file here that we can't edit. We're going to want to learn more about those files. So let's see. I'm going to sudo, right? And it just added the user. Now, let's look at this etc password, okay? Let's less etc password. And we can see here that there's a lot of information here. I'm going to go to the very bottom, okay? So here's student Jeff, and I have an ID, a home directory, and a shell. Now, there's some of these that have no login. So this is something that you should slowly get familiar with. We'll use different aspects of it as we continue down this video journey that we're on. This right here is supposed to be the password, but it's moved because it used to be just shown here. That was bad. And they moved it to less etc shadow. And I can't do that because it needs to be root. Sudo. Bang, bang. And I'm going to get here to the end right there. So here is my user, but I don't have a password yet. A password hasn't been set. In fact, there's not a password on any of these because we prefer to use keys. But sometimes we still have to use passwords. So let's do this. Let's set the password. So quit. Now I need to do sudo because I'm EC2 user. And I want to set the password for JString. So I'm going to do, for student Jeff. So I'm going to do sudo password, passwd, student Jeff. Changing the password for student Jeff. Make sure we're doing it for the right person. And let's put a password here. So, okay, so I have a password. Sweet. So now if I do sudo, in fact, let's just do grep student Jeff from etc shadow. And look at that. This right here is my encrypted and salted password. Okay? So, those are two words that you're probably not super familiar with. So encrypted means that I'm trying to keep it safe. And I'm doing some mathematics on it, and someone has to do the mathematics, a different version of mathematics to get it back. The problem is if my password's the same as someone else's, it'll show up as the same hash. In fact, these are hashed. These aren't encrypted. These are hashed. It'll show up as the same hash. You can't actually undo it. Hash you can't undo. Encrypted you can. Okay? So these are hashed. It's one way. So what we do is we add some salt to it. So we added the salt to the hash. And that way my password won't look the same as others because the salt's different for mine and everyone else's. So the system puts something randomly. So if my password was just password, which it's not, but believe it or not, that's still a common password. It's stupid. If my password was just password and someone else's password is password, this part right here would be different because this part right here is is put together with password and then hashed. Once again, you can't get hashes back out. We're going to talk about encryption and hashes in a later video. We're going to actually do it ourselves so that you can see. But right now, the main thing I want you to do is make sure that you understand good passwords, understand a little bit about where they're at. You should also play a little bit with users and groups. In fact, if we look, both of these were in Etsy. So if I cd Etsy, I do an ls, there's a lot here. But if I do ls-ltrah, I can see a bunch of stuff recently changed. There's password, gshadow, groups. So these are all, look at all this that's changed. Actually, there's shadow, but that has a dash. ls-ltrah pipe grep shad. Oh, shadow's here at the bottom. I'm like, where's the... So all these are recently changed when I did things. So let's look at a little bit as to why. So in fact, let's just grep student from Etsy password. Let's grep student from Etsy gshadow sudo. Let's grep student from, I wanted to type from Etsy group. Grep student from Etsy grep student from Etsy subgid. Grep student from Etsy shadow, and we're going to have to do this with sudo. Okay, so when we changed the password, in fact, when we created the account, so we first created the account, so this, and then when we changed the password, all these files changed. When we created the account and changed the password. So it would be good to understand these files. One of the things that I like to do is create multiple users in different ways to show what happens to these numbers. But that's when we get more to users and groups. So that's coming. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Students in my class, I make them send me this so that I can have a student start to crack them. And if the password gets cracked, they lose points. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next